What's up, AI Tech Nation? Welcome back to All About AI Tech, your go-to channel for everything AI. Today, we're tackling a topic it's no longer a futuristic worry, it's a present-day reality. Think about it. AI is in our smartphones, cars, workplaces, and even influencing who gets a loan. The power is immense, the potential for good is enormous, but the risks, well, those are pretty darn serious, guys. We're talking about algorithms that can perpetuate bias, leading to discriminatory outcomes in hiring, lending, and even the justice system. Deepfakes that can erode trust and ruin reputations. AI-driven surveillance that raises huge concerns about privacy and freedom. These aren't hypothetical scenarios. These are things that are affecting real people right now, and we're going to explore several of them in this video. So buckle up, grab your favorite drink, and let's dive into the Wild West of AI ethics. We're going to start by exploring the most recent news regarding the dangers of AI and what the ethical challenges are. Then I have plans to explore some of the solutions that are already out there, before concluding with some actions each of us can take. Sound good? Let's begin. Let's start with a quick rundown of some recent news that highlights just how crucial AI ethics are. First, we saw the alarming reports of AI-powered facial recognition systems showing significant bias against people of color. This is not theoretical. These algorithms are being used in law enforcement, and that has consequences: false arrests, unjustified suspicion, and the perpetuation of systemic inequalities that are not acceptable in 2025. Then there's the deepfake nightmare. The technology is advancing so rapidly that even experts are struggling to identify fake videos and audio. We're not just talking about silly celebrity pranks. These deepfakes are being used for malicious purposes, political manipulation, fraud, revenge porn, stuff that can utterly ruin lives. We have to acknowledge that AI can be used for nefarious purposes, and it's being done right now. The chilling stories illustrate why clear ethical principles and robust regulations are urgently needed. Another sobering piece of news involves widespread AI-assisted plagiarism in academia. Students are using AI tools to churn out essays, undermining academic integrity and devaluing hard-earned degrees. This exposes how these tools are not only being used irresponsibly by individuals to achieve unfair advantages, but also how schools don't yet know how to effectively address these problems. These illustrate the lack of clarity of ethical and legal frameworks that surround the implementation and use of these AI tools and highlight the urgent need for institutional and government action. What can organizations do to combat this problem? What kind of regulations are needed? What are the legal ramifications of using AI without considering such considerations? You see what needs to be done, right? This clearly shows we need to start establishing boundaries, creating ethical safeguards and policies before things get hopelessly out of hand. How do we do this? Let's find out. Okay, the news is alarming, but don't despair, guys. We're not powerless here by any means. There are actually a lot of smart people working diligently on building a more responsible approach to AI. Let's explore some of the solutions being put into action. First, we're seeing a significant push for greater transparency and explainability in AI systems and models. The black box problem, where we don't understand how an AI reaches a conclusion, is a major obstacle to trust. XAI, explainable AI, is a great effort that is underway attempting to make these systems more transparent and building trust amongst those using AI solutions. This will not only expose bias, but also makes it more difficult for companies or individuals to abuse AI-powered tools for commercial or political gain, whilst having the capacity to hold people and organizations accountable for their actions and outputs. Next, there's a burgeoning focus on mitigating algorithmic bias. Researchers and developers are actively working on methods to identify and correct biases in training data, ensuring that AI systems are fair and equitable. This includes developing diverse datasets and designing systems that are robust against attacks. We talked earlier about algorithmic bias concerning facial recognition software. What is being done to eliminate the bias in this context? There are more ethical frameworks, guidelines, and standards emerging. More AI ethics boards are being formed, comprised of researchers, industry leaders, and ethicists to guide development and deployment of AI technologies. And finally, we're seeing increasing calls for concrete regulations in AI. The EU AI Act is a groundbreaking piece of legislation and the first attempt at putting the ethical aspects of generative AI systems squarely into regulation. The Act categorizes AI systems based on risk and sets out requirements for high-risk applications, emphasizing transparency, safety, and accountability. This approach is an excellent opportunity, but it really also highlights a lot of what needs to be done in other places across the globe. What will the regulatory response look like for other countries? What are the chances that some common international standards will be produced? And who is actually in the position to push these initiatives forward more effectively? We'll be better able to discuss these questions as more time passes and regulatory structures begin to materialize. Let's delve a little deeper into some of these solutions in the sections that follow. Let's look at how some of the leading tech companies are confronting these ethical challenges. IBM, for example, has been incredibly proactive, establishing an AI ethics board way back in 2018 and developing concrete principles of trust and transparency, guiding their own development of AI solutions, but serving also to educate others on best practices. They've set clear standards for explainability, fairness, robustness, and privacy, things that are directly related and connected to building trust and increasing consumer confidence. We also can't forget Microsoft's Copilot. While the U of U is one of the few universities that allowed this to be implemented onto their campus for testing, Microsoft is leading the way in developing corporate solutions that can be compliant with laws and ethical principles, such as data protection agreements and clear protocols to prevent misuse of the technology. By working with universities to test and refine this software, they're helping ensure that the tool can enhance and improve not just workflows and efficiency, but also does so ethically, even if the technical challenges have not yet been completely resolved. What other big names are actively involved in resolving these challenges? Salesforce has integrated responsible AI in company values and initiatives. Companies are using red teaming to identify and mitigate bias, toxicity, and vulnerabilities, an effective process that involves ethical hackers and AI testing experts who conduct simulated attacks to expose weaknesses. It is also important to mention the growing influence of startups and nonprofits tackling AI ethics. Organizations like the Montreal AI Ethics Institute, with a clear and articulate mission, provide valuable resources towards generating debate and highlighting the work that's been done in the field, as well as proposing different technological solutions, such as those involving data anonymization. These are some organizations to watch for their ongoing work in building trust and promoting responsible AI use. These are all great examples of companies and organizations that are walking the talk, demonstrating a real commitment to responsible AI in terms of both product development as well as corporate governance, and showing us that it is possible to develop AI solutions in ways that both add value and build public trust. What can other companies learn from this? We're talking about AI on a massive scale that impacts our daily lives. No way around it. The power is massive, and there's a clear need for a robust legal and regulatory framework. The EU AI Act is leading the charge as the first comprehensive AI regulatory framework and is being hailed as a great effort to help standardize safe and ethical AI development. It categorizes AI applications by their levels of risk and sets stringent requirements for high-risk systems, such as facial recognition and other surveillance technology, setting important precedent in terms of accountability and governance. This sets a high bar, focusing on mitigating the risks associated with AI, but it's a major initiative that shows what's possible, showing other countries what needs to be done. What are other governments doing? The US, for instance, is taking steps to regulate AI, with the recent White House executive order setting broad guidelines and an emphasis on ethical considerations and risk mitigation. This signals a move from vague principles towards more concrete requirements. However, the US environment is still far from the kind of comprehensive, well-established regulatory framework that is the EU. Will the US get there? And if so, how will it impact the American tech industry? What will the regulatory landscape look like by 2025? It's likely that the efforts to adapt and modify policies and frameworks will increase as governments try to keep up with the fast-paced rise of these technologies. This will undoubtedly involve many more changes and updates to these ongoing regulatory efforts. This will be an ongoing global conversation. This is a work in progress, and we need to keep in mind that these standards and best practices are constantly evolving as AI technology and AI deployment evolves, and they absolutely must be. It's a dance between innovation and regulation, but we absolutely cannot risk overlooking the ethical implications of AI. Therefore, building public trust and acceptance of regulation will be key in moving things forward constructively. The need for continuous collaboration between governments, industries, and the research community is more critical than ever. What can everyone do to facilitate and support this process? So, we've talked about the big picture, government regulations, corporate initiatives, and research. But let's not forget the individual level, guys. Because we all have a place in making sure AI is deployed fairly and effectively. First of all, we need to improve our own AI literacy, right? Understanding how AI works, its potential biases, and its limitations, empowering us all to be responsible consumers of AI-driven products and services. If we don't understand what the risks are, we can't make informed decisions. And it's our responsibility to think critically about the technology and how it impacts our lives and the lives of others. Next, we can support companies and organizations that are committed to developing responsible AI. Looking for AI solutions that prioritize transparency, explainability, and fairness. By choosing companies that adhere to higher ethical standards, we're sending a clear message to the market. This is what technology should look like. How is this approach done in practice? For example, consumers can choose browsers that respect privacy by default or companies that have ethical guidelines in place when handling users' information. This kind of action will influence companies' business choices, driving a better quality of corporate governance and more ethical technological solutions. Moreover, it is imperative to call for more transparency by our elected officials. For example, many voters will like to understand the political usage of these algorithms, especially during election times. We must not allow the use of biased or manipulative AI, particularly those aimed at impacting votes. As responsible members of our interconnected online community, we must actively report the misuse of AI, whether it's biased information, deepfakes, or other types of AI abuse. Holding companies accountable is crucial because, if companies know they can get away with manipulating people and not face repercussions, it will not only negatively affect public trust in technology, but also in other organizations and even our local governments. So, what can we do to work together to drive these changes forward? We have been exploring the wild west of AI ethics. But by improving transparency, developing robust regulatory frameworks, fostering a culture of ethical technological practice, and holding companies and governments accountable, we can work to safeguard the long-term future to create better tools for all. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into AI ethics. I want to end with a few action points. I hope the message has come across to show that AI ethics isn't a futuristic problem. It's happening right now, and we all have a role to play. First, educate yourself. Find reliable information, understand the challenges, and start thinking critically about the AI systems you interact with daily. Second, support the good guys. Choose AI-driven services from companies that are truly committed to ethical practices. Demand more transparency. Ask questions. Hold companies accountable. Support startups and initiatives that prioritize AI safety and ethics. Third, get involved. Join online communities, participate in discussions, and let your voice be heard. The more people that are involved in this process, the more impact we'll have. We've examined the risks, analyzed some solutions, and highlighted the need for a multi-stakeholder approach to building trustworthy AI. AI ethics isn't an abstract philosophical realm, but a critical step in shaping the future of technology and our future as a society. Let's work together now towards creating a digital world with a future that is powered by AI and enhanced by our ethical considerations. What actions will you take? Share what you'll do in the comments. Let's build this responsible AI future together. Thanks for watching, and remember to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any insights into your favorite AI tech news. We have an exciting lineup of videos coming up in the next few weeks, so subscribe and join the community of knowledge seekers. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay ethical.